My name is Hannah. For years, I carried a silence that hurt more than cruel words. In Israel, a woman without children was not only sad, she was seen as incomplete. Every feast, every family gathering, was a living reminder of the emptiness that filled my womb and my heart. My husband, Elkanah, loved me deeply. He tried to comfort me, saying I was worth more to him than 10 sons. But there was a pain his love could not erase. It was the ache of not bringing forth life. It was the feeling that I had failed as a woman before my people. And there was Peninnah. She had children, many of them. Her laughter echoed like knives in my ears. Whenever we went up to worship the Lord in Shiloh, her words grew sharper. She provoked me, humiliated me, and reminded me daily of what I did not have. I wept in silence. Sometimes I could not even eat. Food loses its taste when the soul is bitter. My plate remained untouched while tears filled my eyes as others celebrated around me. I smiled on the outside, but inside I was shattered. In time, I began to understand that my pain had a purpose. It was not just suffering, it was a calling. Every time Peninnah wounded me, something within me moved closer to God. I could not answer her accusations, but I could speak to the Lord. There was a day that marked my life forever. We went again to the house of the Lord. My heart was unbearably heavy. I no longer wanted to simply endure the pain. I wanted an answer. I wanted a miracle. I wanted to know that God saw me. I entered the temple and stepped away from everyone. There, before the altar, words failed me. I could only cry. My prayer was not loud or eloquent. It was not filled with beautiful phrases. It was a desperate cry. My lips moved, but no sound came out. I poured out my soul before the Lord. I told him that if he gave me a son, I would give him back. I did not want only a baby. I wanted to fulfill a greater purpose. In that moment, I made a vow. If God granted me a boy, I would dedicate him all the days of his life. He would not be only my son. He would be a servant of the Lord. I would surrender what I desired most. As I prayed, I felt someone watching me. It was the priest Eli. He thought I was drunk. My desperation looked like disorder, but I was not intoxicated. I was broken. When he rebuked me, I answered that I was not a wicked woman. I was simply a deeply troubled woman pouring out my soul before the Lord. I was not filled with wine. I was filled with sorrow. Then Eli spoke words that still echo in my heart. Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him. In that instant, something shifted inside me. I was not yet pregnant. Nothing had changed in my body, but my soul was different. For the first time in years, I felt peace. It was as if God had whispered, I have heard you. I returned home, and for the first time I could eat. My face was no longer the same. The pain had not vanished completely, but hope had been born. And hope changes everything. In time, my body confirmed what my faith had already embraced. I was pregnant. Each passing day was a silent miracle growing within me. When I held my son in my arms, my heart overflowed with gratitude. I named him Samuel, because I had asked him of the Lord. Every time I spoke his name, I remembered the day I wept in the temple. But along with joy came the weight of my promise. I had made a vow. God had been faithful to me. Now it was my turn to be faithful to him. I cherished every moment of Samuel's growth. Every smile, every sound, every small step was precious. I knew my time with him would be short. I was preparing my heart for goodbye. When he was weaned, the hardest moment of my life arrived. I took him to the house of the Lord. Holding his small hand, I felt my heart break in silence. I presented my son to the priest. I said that this child was the answer to prayer. I said that he belonged to the Lord all the days of his life. My hands let him go, but my faith held him tight. I returned home with empty arms. Many women might have called me foolish. I had waited so long for a child only to give him away. But I knew God never takes without purpose. Every year I made a small robe for Samuel and brought it to him. Each stitch was a prayer. Each thread was an act of love. I watched him grow in the temple, serving before the Lord. My heart felt longing, but also pride. I had not lost a son. I had offered a prophet. And God did not remain indebted. He gave me more sons and daughters. My house, once silent, became filled with life. The Lord turned my shame into honor. Yet nothing compares to what Samuel became. He heard the voice of God on a night when few were listening. He anointed kings. He guided a nation, and I knew. It all began with a prayer soaked in tears. Today, when I remember the woman who wept in silence because she had no children, I see someone being shaped. My pain was not punishment. It was preparation. If you are listening now and you carry an emptiness inside, I understand. I know what it feels like to believe you have been forgotten, but I can tell you with certainty, God hears prayers that come from the soul. I learned that the miracle begins before it appears. It is born in the secret place where no one sees. It is born when we choose to trust even without answers. My story is not about barrenness, it is about surrender. It is about turning tears into promises. I am Hannah, the woman who wept in the temple, the woman who made a vow, the woman who returned her miracle to God. And if today your pain feels too great, remember me. Sometimes the womb that seems empty is being prepared to carry something that will change an entire generation. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel right now so you don't miss the next powerful biblical story. Leave your like to help this message reach more people, and click the links in the description and in the pinned comment to strengthen your faith journey.